The elite hunters thought Lu Feng was crazy when he walked into a high-level dungeon as a level 1 rookie. They laughed at him, called him a useless burden, and told him to hide in the back before he got everyone killed. But the moment the monsters appeared, those same hunters froze in fear, because the enemy in front of them was strong enough to wipe out an entire raid team. While everyone else was panicking, Lu Feng calmly stepped forward like he already knew how this fight would end. And that is because he did. Not once, not twice, but for 3,000 years. Long ago, Lu Feng was the weakest member of this same dungeon team, forced to watch his seniors die protecting him again and again. Every time dawn arrived, the world reset, and he was dragged back to the same cursed day. At first, he was helpless. Then he memorized every trap, every monster, every attack pattern, and every way his friends could die. What started as a nightmare slowly became his training ground. So when the real world finally continued and these arrogant hunters still treated him like trash, Lu Feng did not explain anything. He simply moved before the monster could attack, struck its weakest point, and ended the fight before the top hunters could even react. The whole raid went silent. Because to them, it was impossible. But to Lu Feng, it was just another enemy he had killed countless times before. So how did the weakest rookie become a monster who makes even S-rank hunters look like children? And what else did he learn after being trapped in the same day for 3,000 years? To understand that, we have to go back to the beginning. 5 years ago, these massive interdimensional gates ripped through our reality, turning familiar streets into a hellish playground for monsters. Now, only the awakened ones possess the power to step into these shadows and fight back. Honestly, looking at those ruins, it's basically an RPG where the respawn button is permanently broken. A terrifying, winged demon with glowing yellow eyes towers over the little mage, Su Tao Tao, who can only scream "No" as death closes in. Just as the claws are about to shred her, a massive sword stroke cleaves through the air, intercepting the beast in a flash of light. Talk about a heart-stopping save. Another second and that kid would have been history. The blonde warrior stands tall among the debris, her red cape fluttering as she shouts for the group to stay strong. She swings her glowing blade with total desperation, promising the team that they'll all make it out of this nightmare alive. I really want to believe her, but looking at the sheer amount of fire and wreckage around them, she's definitely fighting an uphill battle. Fighter Anya and the rest of the squad are pinned down back to back, surrounded by a literal mountain of red demons. Zhao Haishan, the veteran soldier, wipes the sweat and blood from his face, admitting that his dream of living to see 70 is officially a pipe dream. When the guy with the most experience starts talking about his last wish, you know the death flags are flying high. Suddenly, a young man named Lu Feng steps out of a blinding pillar of light, looking strangely calm despite the chaos. The soldier immediately loses his mind, screaming at Lu Feng to get back because a level 0 newcomer with no skills will only die in vain here. It's a suicide mission for a pro, so why does this rookie look like he's just taking a stroll? The veteran warns him that while everyone has a first battle, this isn't the time to play hero because the monsters here have evolved way beyond a C-class world. This is a glitch in the system, and these creatures are far stronger than they're supposed to be. Can a guy with 0 levels actually survive a threat that's breaking the rules of the world? The ground starts to vibrate with a guttural growl that feels like it's coming from the bowels of the earth itself. Suddenly, this massive, red-skinned monstrosity towers over the ruins, looking down at the protagonist and the blonde warrior like they're nothing more than insects. It's a complete game over vibe. I mean, how are they even supposed to fight something that can crush a building with one step? The mustached soldier isn't backing down, though, shouting for the seniors to step up and protect the newcomers at all costs. In a heartbeat, the whole squad coordinates an all-out assault, with the boxer and the soldier charging in while the blonde warrior launches herself straight at the beast's face. You have to respect the guts it takes to jump headfirst into a literal death trap like that. Metal screams against bone as the blonde warrior's blade meets the demon's jagged claws in a massive shower of sparks. But the monster is a force of nature. Its glowing red eyes radiate pure malice as it swats the rest of the group aside like they're made of paper. Seeing the warrior gasping for air while her teammates are scattered on the ground, it's heartbreaking because you can see their hope just starting to vanish. As the little mage falls back in tears, the protagonist calmly steps into the line of fire to shield her from the carnage. The poor girl is hyperventilating, her magic spiraling out of control in a burst of desperate energy as the demon prepares to finish them off. He looks so composed standing there, but honestly, what can a level 2 player actually do against a nightmare that just wiped out a veteran squad? The demon's massive hand sweeps across the battlefield like a scythe, and the blonde warrior looks up, resigned to the fact that this is where her story ends. But just as the blow is about to land, a violent, blinding slash erupts through the air, cutting deep into the monster's thick hide. Someone just changed the rules of the fight in a single move, but who has the power to make a beast like that actually scream in pain? The protagonist steps into the light with his eyes glowing a sharp, predatory blue. He pulls the blonde warrior out of the death zone, moving with a speed that shouldn't be possible for someone at his rank. She's staring at him in total shock, her mind racing as she tries to process how the new guy just performed a literal miracle. Seriously, the look on her face is priceless. She went from, "I'm dead," to, "Who the hell is this?" in a single heartbeat. The massive red demon lunges, but the protagonist is already 10 steps ahead of the beast. He carves through the monster's thick hide with surgical precision, ending the fight before the creature can even finish its roar. The veterans are absolutely frozen, watching a high-tier threat get dismantled in literal seconds. The mustached soldier is actually shaking because he realizes the kid isn't just lucky, he's hitting every single unscaled weak point with impossible accuracy. How does a rookie know exactly where the no-scale zones are on a monster he's supposedly never seen? The protagonist stands over the dissipating corpse as a golden, level 2, notification flickers above his head. He looks back at the stunned group and simply says, "Not anymore," instantly silencing any doubt about his status. But he doesn't give them a second to celebrate. He drops a bombshell, warning them that a monster lair is nearby and thousands of creatures are about to swarm their position. The mustached soldier is starting to lose it, wondering if this newcomer is actually a prophet. Honestly, at this point, if he told them the sky was falling, they'd probably believe him. He points toward a ruined highway ramp and commands the entire group to follow him immediately. The party doesn't hesitate for a second, breaking into a full-speed sprint as they weave through the rusted remains of abandoned cars. The power dynamic has completely flipped. These high-level warriors are now clinging to the lead of a level 2 just to keep their heads on their shoulders. But even with his guidance, how are they supposed to outrun an army of thousands in a city that's already a graveyard? The blonde warrior looks over her shoulder while sprinting, her voice trembling as she asks if he's actually a newbie. Our protagonist just keeps his eyes forward, coolly reminding her that his stats literally say level 2. But then, he drops a bombshell that changes everything. He's been trapped in this hellscape for 3,000 years. He explains that every single day at 6 a.m., the world resets, and he's forced back to the very moment they were all first transported here. Honestly, hearing that is terrifying. Can you imagine living through the same apocalypse for 3 millennia? The warrior's boots skid against the asphalt as she struggles to process the insanity he's spewing. She shouts that it's total bullshit, demanding to know why a guy who's lived 1,000 lives would give a damn about saving people who are just going to reset anyway. Our MC stops for a heartbeat, his expression softening as he looks at her and starts to say, "That's because you." It's that classic, main character, moment where you know some heavy emotional weight is about to land. The screen shifts to a fractured memory of the warrior screaming in agony as she cradles the protagonist's broken body in a different timeline. In these flashes of past lives, we see her weeping over him, showing a bond that she has completely forgotten, but he's carried for centuries. Back in the present, she's completely flustered and blushing, calling him a master of flirting to hide her confusion. It's actually kind of tragic. He's looking at the woman who's died for him 100 times, and she thinks he's just smooth. The little mage watches them closely as the protagonist explains that he hasn't just been sitting around for those 3,000 years. Behind his calm face, a dark sea of silhouettes appears, representing the thousands of souls and combat patterns he's memorized. He's been collecting every scrap of data, every enemy weakness, and every comrade's habit until he became a walking encyclopedia of war. This isn't just a level 2 player anymore. This is a man who has mastered the very fabric of this world. MC suddenly lunges forward, his blade carving a perfect arc through a winged demon before the warrior can even blink. She scoffs, telling him he sounds like he thinks he's the second system of the shadow world, but his results are impossible to argue with. From a bird's eye view, we see the group weaving through the rusted graveyard of cars, moving with a precision they never had before. They're finally making progress, but the sheer number of monsters closing in from the alleys is starting to look like a death sentence. How many more resets can one man's mind actually handle? The protagonist looks at the blonde warrior and the little mage with a gaze far too heavy for a supposed level 2. He tells them straight up that they are his comrades who have died fighting by his side more times than he can count, promising he won't leave them until they're safe. But then, he drops a bombshell. He has another objective to handle solo. Before they can even process the shock, he steps right off the ledge of the building into the abyss. Honestly, the weight of those memories must be crushing, but he doesn't hesitate for a second. We see the MC diving headfirst into the pitch-black ruins of the city below. He isn't just falling, he's hunting, his eyes fixed on the chaos as the wind screams past him. A massive flash of orange light erupts from the street level, illuminating the skeletal remains of the surrounding skyscrapers. Something is going down in the heart of the swarm, and while everyone else is running for their lives, he's the only one diving toward the fire. You have to wonder, does he actually have a plan for the landing, or is he just relying on instinct? A purple-haired woman named Ling Yu is seen absolutely shredding through the monster horde with twin pistols. As a gunsmith, her firepower is incredible, carving a path of glowing lead through the nightmare creatures closing in. But then, the worst-case scenario happens. Her guns let out a hollow click because she's completely out of ammo. The look of pure, cold terror on her face says it all as the monsters realize she's finally defenseless. This is the exact moment where her story usually ends in every other timeline. A shadow drops from the sky like a literal bolt of lightning right behind the panicked gunsmith. It's our MC, and he doesn't waste a single heartbeat, instantly cleaving through a flying monster that was a split second away from ending her. The beast is dead before it even touches the pavement, and the MC stands there, perfectly calm amidst the carnage. Lingyu can only stare at him in total disbelief, breathless as she asks, "Who are you?" The crazy part is, based on his memories, he probably knows her name, her favorite weapon, and exactly how she died a dozen times before. Now, the real question is, how is she going to react when she realizes a level 2 just saved her life? The protagonist lunges forward through a rain of sparks and falling debris. He's shouting out hyper-specific instructions to Lingyu, telling her exactly where safe 1302 is and that the password is 0014. He's doing this while mid-air, dodging a literal swarm of winged demons like it's just another Tuesday. Seriously, the way he's dropping top-secret codes while fighting for his life is just insane. How does a level 2 even know the city's hidden security protocols? They slam into the elevator, and the MC doesn't even hesitate before punching the button for the 13th floor. Lingyu is staring at him with this look of total confusion, finally demanding to know why he's going to such lengths to save her. He just looks back, dead serious, and tells her it's because they are companions. That honestly hits so hard when you realize she has no idea they've fought, and she's died, by his side 100 times before. It's the kind of loyalty that transcends memory, and it's beautiful but also kind of tragic. Suddenly, the entire screen is swallowed by jagged, red energy bolts that tear through the atmosphere. These massive strikes of power are slamming into the ruins, shaking the very foundation of the shadow world. The sound alone is enough to make your skin crawl, signaling that the game is stepping up its difficulty. You can tell the situation just went from bad to absolute nightmare in a matter of seconds. The MC stands his ground as dark, shadowy energy begins to swirl around his feet like a rising tide. He isn't looking at the elevator anymore. He's looking at the threat ahead with eyes that have seen the end of the world. He looks less like a weak survivor and more like a predator waiting for the right moment to strike. Honestly, seeing him look this cool despite his level is the hype I live for. A massive stone archway looms over the battlefield as the demon swarm intensifies, threatening to overrun the entire gate. But then, the rest of the squad, the blonde warrior, the little mage, and the boxer, all leap into the air together in a coordinated strike. They're finally moving as one unit, trust beginning to form where there was only doubt before. But even with this teamwork, can they actually stop what's coming through that gate next? The boxer huffs and puffs as they sprint deeper into the dark, his eyes darting around in panic. He's losing his nerve, shouting that the level 2 lead might have just walked them into a death trap. Honestly, after seeing their friends die in the past, I get why he's so paranoid. But the blonde warrior shuts him down immediately, her face set in stone as she yells that trust is their only option now. They round a bend and see the protagonist standing perfectly still at the tunnel's mouth, waiting for them. It's like he's the only person in this world who isn't afraid of what's coming. The protagonist calmly waves the group past him, his eyes already locked on the darkness behind them. He tells them to keep running and that he'll handle the cleanup personally. The mustached soldier looks back with a face full of doubt, but there's no time to argue. Just a few yards away, a literal sea of red demons is shrieking, their claws scraping the stone as they swarm the entrance. But look at the MC's face, he's actually smirking. He's not just standing his ground, he's been waiting for this exact moment to spring the trap. A massive, glowing, NO entry rune flashes in the air as the entire corridor erupts into a hellish pillar of fire. The MC triggers a massive tactical explosion, turning the narrow bottleneck into a literal furnace. It is absolute chaos. The little mage tries to look back, her eyes wide with terror, but the blonde warrior screams at her to keep her head down and run. One look back and the sheer heat from that blast would probably melt their armor. The timing on this is just, it's perfect, but also terrifyingly cold. The group sprints for their lives as a massive shockwave of fire and debris chases them down the hall. They are barely staying ahead of the wall of heat that's erasing everything in its path. Behind them, the demons aren't just dying, they're being incinerated and crushed as the tunnel ceiling begins to cave in from the force. Rocks are raining down and smoke is filling the air, cutting off the path entirely. The monsters are dealt with, but now the group is separated from their leader by a mountain of rubble. Did he just sacrifice himself to save them, or is there another part of the plan we aren't seeing yet? The mustached soldier looks back at the settling dust with a surprisingly calm smirk. He assures the group that the blast range was calculated to the millimeter, so they were never in actual danger. Our leader isn't just lucky, he's playing a high-stakes game of chess with literal explosives. Honestly, seeing the soldier trust him this much after almost being buried alive is wild. The group finally arrives at a desolate cable car station under a bruised, purple sky. The protagonist turns to his companions, point-blank asking if they finally believe his secret. The blonde warrior admits he's an incredible rookie, but she still can't wrap her head around him repeating the same day for 3,000 years. I mean, how do you even begin to process that kind of trauma? It sounds like a ghost story, even if his skills prove otherwise. The protagonist looks down at the little mage, his voice dropping to a somber, steady tone. He explains that fighting wasn't the only thing he did to pass the time during those countless loops. We see flashes of his past lives, hacking into high-security systems, performing complex surgeries, and mastering intricate strategy games. He's spent lifetimes becoming the ultimate human weapon, and the look in his eyes shows just how heavy that knowledge really is. The little mage and the warrior stare in silence as he explains the true scale of this shadow world. He tells them hundreds of awakened are trapped here, but only 7, including them, are his true companions who have died by his side over and over. The blonde warrior snaps back, calling him a glib liar because he's breaking his own logic about the timeline and the goddess. She's trying to stay grounded, but you can feel the weight of his words finally starting to crack her shell. The protagonist stands on the edge of the platform, his sword hanging low and the wind whipping his jacket. He doesn't wait for a reply or an argument, suddenly leaping through the air toward a moving cable car. The little mage watches in pure shock as he effortlessly catches the ledge and pulls himself inside. He stares back at them with those cold, determined eyes, looking like a man who's already seen how this ends. Where is this solo mission taking him, and what is he expecting to find at the top? A silent Ferris wheel stands frozen against a dark, bird-filled sky. Suddenly, a deafening roar shatters the quiet as the steel-winged giant, the boss of Black Ruin City, finally reveals itself. It's the kind of sound that tells you immediately that everyone is way over their heads. A massive mechanical leg crushes the pavement, sending sparks and debris flying into the terrified crowd. Soldiers desperately scream, "Fire," as they unload their rifles into the beast, but the giant just stares back with glowing, demonic eyes. Bullets against a mountain of cursed steel, yeah, that's not going to end well for them. The giant bellows again, the sheer force of its roar practically blowing the front line away like dust. People are screaming for help and realize too late that the information they were given about this mission was a total lie. It's pure, unadulterated chaos, and honestly, it looks like a slaughterhouse in the making. A woman in a suit freezes in shock, her eyes tracking a sudden streak of light cutting through the smoke. A massive pillar of energy slams into the ground with the force of a falling star, vibrating through the very earth. Finally, a wild card has entered the game, and he isn't playing by the rules. The smoke clears to reveal the protagonist crouching in the crater, looking absolutely unbothered by the carnage around him. He stares up at the towering mechanical monster with those cold, glowing eyes, and for the first time, the giant actually looks like it's found a worthy target. The vibe just shifted from "run for your life" to "sit back and watch a master at work." Instead of taking cover, our MC just starts walking calmly toward the giant's massive leg, looking like he's just going for a stroll. The monster doesn't take kindly to the disrespect, swinging a razor-sharp wing down with enough force to level an entire city block. Can a level 2 player actually survive a direct hit from a raid boss, or is his confidence about to get him crushed? A massive, razor-sharp steel wing whistles through the air, aimed directly at our hero's head with enough force to split an entire building. The lady in the sunglasses doesn't even look hopeful, coldly muttering that this rookie is officially a dead man. And honestly, looking at the sheer scale of that attack and the way the ground is already cracking, I can't even blame her for thinking this is the end. The ground shatters under the weight of the blow, but the MC isn't under the rubble. He's already slipped past the impact zone like a total ghost. The observers' eyes go wide as they realize he didn't just get lucky, he moved before the attack even landed. This isn't just fast reflexes, it's like he's living 5 seconds in the future while everyone else is struggling to keep up with the present. He isn't just running blindly, though, he's targeting a very specific weakness in the knuckles of the giant's right hand that only a veteran would know. Sensing the threat, the monster screams as it triggers a brutal transformation into its second form, the steel cable giant. Suddenly, dozens of metallic whips burst from its body, turning the entire area into a mechanical death trap where one wrong step means being shredded. The woman watching from the sidelines is absolutely spiraling, finally realizing he's predicting every single whip and strike with terrifying, impossible precision. Instead of retreating from the cables, our hero actually starts scaling the massive mechanical beast, leaping onto its chest and gripping his sword with lethal intent. Seeing him climb that mountain of steel all by himself, it's enough to give anyone goosebumps, especially knowing he's technically only level 2. With a violent spin, he strikes a critical joint, causing a massive explosion of sparks and metal shrapnel that sends shockwaves through the entire ruins. As the dust clears, the giant's heavy armor peels back, revealing the glowing, pulsing control center, its one and only heart. He's standing right there, perched on its head like a predator, ready to deliver the final blow to a god-tier raid boss. A jagged blade sinks into heavy metallic plating with a sickening crunch. Lu Feng isn't just fighting, he's dissecting this monster, driving his weapon directly into the mechanical titan's core. The massive boss lets out a final, distorted roar as its internal systems shatter under the pressure. Seriously, the precision here is insane. He's moving like a pro who's done this 1,000 times. The steel-winged giant loses all power and collapses into the dirt, triggering a colossal explosion. Fire and shrapnel rain down across the battlefield as the boss's energy core completely detonates. It's a total wipeout. Just like that, the unbeatable threat is nothing but a pile of smoking scrap metal. You can almost feel the heat through the screen, right? The veteran soldiers watching from the sidelines look like they've just seen a ghost. They're stammering about a god-tier rookie, because they can't process a level 5 kid soloing a world-class boss. As the dust settles, Lu Feng stands in the center of the crater, his level finally ticking up to 9. The look on their faces is priceless. They're terrified, and honestly, I don't blame them. A glowing golden artifact hovers in the air, but Lu Feng looks at it with total indifference. He actually sighs, muttering that it'll be wasted again, this time, which is a major red flag. Suddenly, a massive system notification confirms the final boss of Dark Ruin City is dead, and everyone is getting kicked out in 60 seconds. The mission is over, but for Lu Feng, this clearly isn't his first victory lap. The blonde warrior and her squad stare at the pillars of light, finally realizing Lu Feng wasn't a crazy liar after all. They're starting to wrap their heads around the fact that this guy might have actually been stuck in this loop for 3,000 years. But as they prepare to teleport, Lu Feng is already walking away, artifact in hand, looking completely drained. He knows exactly what's coming next. The question is, can he actually change the outcome this time, or is he just waiting for the clock to hit 0 again? The cycle is about to reset, and the real mystery is what he's planning to do differently in the next life. Lu Feng's eyes drift shut as he whispers a final goodbye to the companions he's watched die 1,000 times. He's finally letting go, drifting into a pitch-black void while the world dissolves around him. But as the darkness takes him, he realizes this isn't the end. It's just the start of another round. Seriously, after 3,000 years of this, you'd think the universe would give the guy a break. A blinding white light replaces the shadows, forcing Lu Feng to squint at a familiar, boring ceiling. He gasps out, "Where am I?" his voice sounding oddly high and youthful. He's sitting in a small, cramped bedroom with a simple desk and a computer humming nearby. It's the ultimate culture shock going from a literal god-tier battlefield back to a messy teen's room. Lu Feng leans against the window frame, watching people casually walk down the street as if the world isn't about to end. Outside, the trees are green and the sun is shining, a stark contrast to the hellscape he just left. It's surreal seeing people worry about their daily commute when you know exactly when the monsters are coming. Flashes of blood-red demons and crumbling skyscrapers haunt his vision, reminding him of the endless slaughter. He can still feel the weight of those massive swords falling from the sky and the screams of his friends. But then he takes a breath and realizes, it's finally ended. He's back at the starting line with all his memories intact, which is honestly the most terrifying weapon anyone could have. He stares down at his lap and a translucent blue status window flickers into life right in front of him. He's Lu Feng, level 9, with absolutely no profession or skills equipped. The crazy part, he actually kept his level from the previous timeline. Most big shots would laugh at a level 9 noob, but for a world that hasn't even awakened yet, he's basically a cheat code. Something catches his eye on the bookshelf, making him freeze in total confusion. He reaches out and pulls down a heavy, golden mechanical egg that feels surprisingly warm to the touch. This is the steel-winged giant's egg, a rare drop from the boss he just sacrificed everything to defeat. If he brought back items from the future, the rules of this loop have completely changed, and I can't wait to see what happens when this thing actually hatches. A sharp, aggressive knock suddenly breaks the silence of the room. Lu Feng's sister, a girl with short blonde hair in a wheelchair, rolls toward the door and swings it open. I love how she's ready to fight, even though she genuinely thought a thief was breaking in. She immediately starts scolding him for not picking up his phone for the entire day. The poor girl was literally seconds away from calling the cops because she was so worried. Honestly, seeing her in that chair makes his whole mission feel so much more personal. The camera pans down to her small feet resting on the metal plates of her wheelchair. She looks up with teary eyes and whispers that she really missed him. It's a simple line, but after everything he's been through, it clearly breaks him. Lu Feng pulls her into a tight, desperate hug without saying a single word. This isn't a normal hug, he's holding on to his entire world after 3,000 years of looping. She gets flustered and tells him it's embarrassing, but you can tell she's just relieved he's home. She playfully pushes him away and demands to know where he's been hiding all day. Lu Feng makes up a quick lie about a workplace emergency and a dead phone battery. He's a master of the loop, so lying to protect her peace of mind is second nature now. He promises to buy her a full almighty repair set to make up for the scare. She instantly forgives him because he knows exactly how to make her smile. It's heart-wrenching to see him play the normal brother role while carrying such dark, heavy secrets. Her eyes sparkle with joy as she clutches a wrench, her anger vanishing instantly. She agrees to let him off the hook and heads toward the kitchen to prepare food. I'm glad she has a hobby like mechanics to keep her spirit up despite the wheelchair. Lu Feng starts rattling off a massive list of spicy dishes, like Sichuan beef and lobster. The guy is starving, and honestly, a home-cooked meal is probably better than any legendary power-up. Their bond is the only wholesome thing left in this story, but I'm already worried about the peace ending. A dark vision shows Lu Feng crackling with blue energy while surrounded by snarling, red-eyed monsters. The scene then flashes back to a bleak hospital room where a younger Lu Feng holds his sister's hand. We find out a car accident killed their parents and took her ability to walk. It's the ultimate origin story of pain, showing that he's already lost his entire world once before. He looks so broken in the past, which explains his cold obsession with getting stronger now. He's not just fighting for survival anymore, he's fighting to rewrite her entire destiny, no matter the cost. Lu Feng leans in close, his eyes burning with a promise that defies every medical textbook. He tells his sister straight up that he doesn't care what the doctors say, he will make her stand again. But instead of a hug, she snaps, screaming for him to go away because she's tired of being his guinea pig. It's heart-wrenching, honestly. He's carrying the weight of 3,000 years of memories, and the one person he's doing it all for just wants him to leave her alone. A news report flashes on the screen, recapping the day the world broke 5 years ago when the dimensional gates first appeared. It shows silhouettes of the awakened, people who gain supernatural powers and professions like archers or mages to fight the chaos. They're called heroes who risk it all to change destiny, but for Lu Feng, this is just a reminder of the cycle he's already seen end in fire. It's a flashy world for the public, but he knows the dark price behind that power. The TV shows rows of glowing white portals known as the Shadow Worlds, buzzing with a dangerous, electric energy. The rule is simple: if the awakened can kill the boss hidden inside, the Shadow World disappears and the city is saved. We see a squad of warriors bravely charging a massive, grotesque purple monster as the crowd watches in awe. It looks like a scene straight out of a blockbuster movie, but the reality behind those gates is never that clean. Then, the main event appears, a hulking guy in blue armor named Alston, flashing a confident smile for the cameras. He's the leader of the Arc Guild, the strongest awakened on the planet, and people literally call him the Guardian of Hope. He stands there like a titan of justice, promising that one day, he'll liberate everyone from this nightmare forever. The public is totally eating it up, treating him like a messiah who can do no wrong. But then we see Lu Feng's hand, and he's absolutely crushing his soda can as he stares at the screen with pure venom. The narration turns cold, revealing that Alston's justice is nothing but a sick lie he feeds the masses. Suddenly, the vibe shifts into a horrifying flashback of a mountain of corpses, twisted and broken under a blood-red moon. This is the truth Lu Feng remembers, the Guardian of Hope standing atop a literal sea of dead allies. The tension is through the roof now. How is a level 9 nobody supposed to expose a global icon who's actually a mass murderer? A demonic, flaming figure chokes the life out of a victim in a blood-red haze. This is the memory haunting Lu Feng, the moment Alston, the world's supposed guardian, slaughtered everyone, including him. It's absolutely chilling to see the man the world worships acting like a literal butcher. Embers drift across the screen as Lu Feng realizes the hero's true goal is total, iron-fisted control over humanity. Then we see Alston sitting smugly on a throne of jagged swords, looking every bit the tyrant he's destined to become. Honestly, how do you even begin to fight someone who has the entire world fooled? Lu Feng sits in his dark room, his face shadowed as he stares at his computer screen. He knows he can't touch Alston yet. A level 9 nobody would be erased in a heartbeat. But he's not just sitting around, his fingers fly across the keys as he starts listing names like Luo Shui and Lao Bing. These are his future heavy hitters, and he needs them under one roof. He's officially registering a new organization, the Breaking Dawn Guild. The crazy part is, he's doing this because a scholar from the Shadow World warned him that a catastrophe rank event is coming much sooner than anyone thinks. Lu Feng's eyes lock onto the monitor with an intensity that's almost scary. He's not just playing a game, he's trying to rewrite a tragedy. Suddenly, a young woman in a wheelchair rolls into the doorway, catching him off guard. He quickly softens his gaze, giving her a distracted "okay," but you can feel the weight of his secret mission pressing down on him. A rustle sound echoes as he focuses back on his shelf, where a mysterious golden medallion sits waiting. This isn't just a hobby for him, it's the only way to keep the person in that wheelchair safe when the world starts to burn. The scene shifts to a massive, high-tech skyscraper labeled the Awakener Support Center. It's the hub of power in this new world, buzzing with elite warriors and high-level prospects. Inside, the crowd is whispering and laughing, wondering why anyone would bother starting a tiny guild when they could just join a powerhouse like Arkansas. Then, the camera pans to the registration desk where the clerk looks at Lu Feng like he's lost his mind. "Are you sure you want to create a guild?" she asks, pointing at his status. The screen displays his name and a measly level 9 rank for everyone to see. The disrespect is immediate, but little do they know, this noob is the only one who knows the apocalypse is already at the front door. Can he actually pull this off before Alston notices him? A group of high-level hunters stands around Lu Feng, laughing at his measly stats. They can't believe a level 9 is actually trying to start a guild when even level 50 big shots struggle to get approval. Honestly, the second-hand embarrassment is real, until Lu Feng reaches into his bag. He pulls out a glowing, intricate golden orb that silences the entire lobby. He doesn't have an A-rank item to show them, he has something much, much better. The crowd gasps as the orb's energy fills the hall, confirming it's a legendary S-rank artifact. The registrar's jaw drops as she realizes this noob is holding enough wealth to buy a city. She quickly starts the paperwork for his new guild, Breaking Dawn, but there's a massive catch. He has exactly 36 hours to recruit 3 more members, or the registration gets deleted forever. That's a brutal deadline for a guy everyone still thinks is a fraud. Lu Feng stares at a digital map of the world, dotted with profiles of the most powerful people he once knew. These aren't just names to him, they're the comrades who die by his side in a future that hasn't happened yet. He knows their strengths, their secrets, and exactly where they are right now. He's determined to bring them back together, no matter what it takes. This is where the real mission begins, but can he convince them he's not a lunatic? We shift to a kendo center in London, where the sound of wooden swords clashing echoes through the hall. A woman with long blonde hair, Luo Shui, completely dominates her opponent with a single, lightning-fast strike. She takes a breather and checks her phone, only to see a cryptic message from Lu Feng. She rolls her eyes, calling him a big liar for claiming he's lived for thousands of years. Man, he really picked the most suspicious way to introduce himself, didn't he? Back in a sharp business office, a woman with gray hair and glasses sits in a high-rise, looking like she owns the world. This is President An, and she doesn't have time for games or mysterious loopers. When her assistant brings up Lu Feng's guild request, she doesn't even pause. A cold, not interested, is her only reply as she dismisses him instantly. It's a total shutdown, leaving Lu Feng's guild dream hanging by a thread. Out on a heavily guarded highway, a massive military convoy escorts a terrifying piece of technology. It's a bipedal mech salvaged from the Shadow World, a weapon so advanced it looks like it belongs in a sci-fi nightmare. The soldiers are on edge, knowing this tech is the only thing standing between humanity and the coming storm. But with Lu Feng's recruitment failing and the clock ticking down, who's actually going to lead the fight? The world has no idea how close it is to the end. Zhao Haishan stares at his phone screen with a look of pure annoyance. The veteran soldier dismisses Lu Feng's mysterious message as nothing more than a scam for healthcare products. It's a bit painful to watch. The man has no idea he just swiped away a lifeline from the future. Honestly, seeing a tactical genius get baited by what he thinks is spam is the kind of irony that only happens in this world. Lu Feng walks through the city streets, looking completely drained as he rubs the back of his neck. He's just realized that every single high-level player he contacted has rejected him flat out. He knows he needs to pivot his strategy and focus on gathering his core trio before the timeline starts to crumble. You can really feel the weight on his shoulders here. It's one thing to have 3,000 years of knowledge, but it's another to get people to actually listen to a level 9 noob. A group of rowdy, mohawk delinquents starts cheering at the top of their lungs for their leader. They're shouting, "Big Sister," with enough energy to wake the dead while a petite girl with light purple hair dominates the scene. She's casually pinning a man in a suit to the ground with her foot while checking her phone like she's just waiting for a coffee. This is the psychic powerhouse Lu Feng mentioned, and seeing her treat a big shot like a literal footstool tells you everything you need to know about her personality. The big sister looks over her shoulder with a cold, piercing gaze as she addresses the man under her boot. She makes it clear that while her minions are just street thugs, she won't stand for anyone bullying them. Suddenly, the man in the suit pulls a gun and fires, but the bullets stop dead in midair just inches from her face. It's an insane display of psychic reflexes. She doesn't just stop the lead, she manually changes their direction with a flick of her fingers. If you weren't scared of her before, you definitely should be now. The man is sent spiraling through the air as a massive telekinetic shockwave blasts him backward. Big Sister gives him one final, chilling warning to never bother her people again or she'll crush him for good. The guy hits the ground with enough force to shatter the pavement, looking like a broken toy. This is the raw, violent talent Lu Feng wants for his guild, but looking at her, how is he supposed to convince a psychic queen to follow a guy who currently has the stats of a delivery driver? The tension is just getting started. The two delinquents are cheering like they just won the lottery, yelling that nobody can touch their big sister now that she's handled the trash. She just sighs, clearly used to cleaning up their messes, but then Lu Feng drops the bombshell. He looks her dead in the eye and calmly invites her to join his new guild, Breaking Dawn. The reaction is instant. the thugs start howling with laughter because a level 9 newbie has the nerve to ask a powerhouse like her to follow him. Honestly, the level of audacity here is almost impressive. Lu Feng doesn't bother arguing with them. He just winds up for a move labeled as a basic straight punch. The air literally screams as a massive shockwave tears through the alley, leaving the pavement cracked and the atmosphere vibrating with raw power. Big Sister looks like she's seen a ghost, her eyes wide as she asks how a rookie skill could possibly have that much destructive force. I mean, we're talking about the very first move you learn in the game. How is it hitting like a nuclear strike? Lu Feng casually mentions he just practiced the move a million times out of boredom, which is the most legendary flex I've ever heard. Frustrated and feeling pressured, Big Sister unleashes a massive, psychic burst, sending manhole covers, trash cans, and street debris flying everywhere in a violent whirlwind. But Lu Feng doesn't even flinch. He just glides through the wreckage like it's a light jog, dodging every projectile with millisecond precision. He's moving so fast the camera can barely keep him in frame. Suddenly, the distance is gone, and Lu Feng is right in her personal space with his hand poised like a blade at her throat. His eyes glow with a terrifying, predatory red light that makes her entire body lock up in fear. Big Sister freezes, her heart probably skipping 10 beats as she realizes she was just a fraction of a second away from losing her life. She immediately starts complaining, shouting that it was a sneak attack and totally doesn't count as a fair win. Yeah, sure, a sneak attack, while you're literally throwing the entire street at him. Instead of forcing her, Lu Feng backs off and proposes a different kind of bet, a simple contest to see who can knock over more cans using only psychic power. If he wins, she joins his guild. If he loses, he'll become her loyal underling for life. She accepts, looking confident as they line up for the challenge, but you can see the doubt starting to creep in. The real question is, what kind of insane trick does a level 9 survivor have up his sleeve to beat a psychic queen at her own specialty? Charlotte unleashes a massive, psychic burst that craters the ground. She effortlessly blasts the 5 center cans into the air, proving why she's the boss of this block. Her goons are already celebrating, laughing that the rookie will be lucky to even nudge 2 or 3 cans. Man, these guys have no idea who they're dealing with. Lu Feng stands perfectly still and slowly closes his eyes. While Charlotte casually blows a bubble with her gum, Lu Feng triggers, basic skill, psychic strike, and the entire area erupts in white-blue energy. Every single can on the field is caught in the crossfire, crumpled like paper and launched into the sky simultaneously. It's not just a win, it's a total atmospheric takeover. The delinquents stare at the empty pavement with their jaws hitting the floor. Lu Feng didn't miss a single one, executing a perfect sweep that shouldn't be possible for a level 9. He calmly explains that even the most basic skills become weapons of mass destruction when they're perfected. He's not just showing off, he's teaching her a lesson in efficiency. Charlotte looks stunned, but she isn't a sore loser, crossing her arms as she officially accepts the deal to join his guild. She demands he teach her that crappy skill until she's on his level, and Lu Feng just gives her a confident smirk. He promises to make her the queen of psychic awakeners before walking away with a casual wave. That's one heavy hitter down, but how many more of his old comrades are still out there? The scene shifts to a quiet apartment where Lu Feng steps inside, finding the rooms dark and empty. He looks around for his sister, wondering why she's out so late, until he spots a handwritten note on the table. A soft, tired expression crosses his face as he realizes she's out there working herself to the bone for him. It's a sharp pivot from the hype of the fight. He's a god-tier survivor in the streets, but at home, he's just a brother trying to save the only family he has left. But where exactly did she go at this hour? Lu Feng is mid-meal when a sharp ting from his phone breaks the silence of his lonely apartment. It's a message from the Big Sister, that elite psychic he's been chasing, and she's actually agreed to join his guild. The visual shift is wild. She's currently moonlighting in a maid cafe, looking incredibly annoyed while serving tea in a frilly outfit. She makes it clear she's only joining to return the favor for him saving her life, and she demands he never contact her unless it's a life-or-death situation. Lu Feng doesn't miss a beat, teasing her that the assassin life isn't suitable for girls. Honestly, I can't tell if he's being brave or just has a death wish talking to her like that. Lu Feng slumps onto his sofa, his eyes glued to the digital timer ticking away on his phone screen. The pressure is mounting because there are only 4 hours left, and he's still stuck with just 2 members. He's managed to secure a veteran and a psychic, but the guild requirements are absolute. He needs a third. If he fails to find someone in the next few hours, his chance to change the future disappears. He knows he has to get back out there and find the last piece of the puzzle, but time is his biggest enemy right now. The scene shifts to the city streets as a torrential downpour turns the night into a blurred mess of gray and blue. Lu Feng is moving through the narrow gaps between towering apartment blocks, his clothes soaking wet as he monitors the area. There's an eerie silence despite the rain, the kind of quiet that usually happens right before a disaster. You can tell he's looking for something specific, or rather, someone specific. The tension is thick, whatever he's expecting to find in these back alleys isn't going to be pretty. Down in a flooded alleyway, a young student is curled into a ball while a group of thugs ruthlessly kicks him into the dirt. The bullies are mocking him, calling him a total loser because he won't even lift a finger to defend himself while they rob him blind. The kid is crying, his face pressed into the freezing puddles, just accepting the abuse like it's his destiny. It's absolutely gut-wrenching to see him just give up like that. But then the camera pans back, revealing Lu Feng standing just a few feet away, watching the entire scene with an expression that's impossible to read. Suddenly, the screen erupts in a violent, bloody red haze as a dark energy begins leaking out of Lu Feng's very soul. His eyes are shadowed, and his teeth are clenched so hard they might shatter as he struggles to keep the monster inside from taking over. This isn't just anger, it's a transcendental power that wants to tear everything apart. He's mentally screaming at himself to endure, fighting the urge to interfere and slaughter the thugs on the spot. If he lets this dark energy slip for even a second, he might lose his humanity forever. Jagged red streaks tear through the darkness as a massive, fanged shadow looms over a terrified young boy. The shadow beast is finally manifesting in its most primal form, its glowing red eyes locked onto its next meal. Honestly, seeing that monster tower over him like that, it is pure nightmare fuel. You've got to ask yourself, how is anyone supposed to fight something that big? A violent spiral of red energy erupts across the frame, followed by a silhouette of a victim screaming, monster, in total agony. The beast is moving with a speed that defies its size, turning the rainy city streets into a literal slaughterhouse. That scream is just gut-wrenching, man. It's clear that these people were never prepared for a disaster of this scale. Is there even a chance for them to survive? Terrified civilians scramble through the freezing rain as a massive black claw smashes into the pavement, sending debris flying everywhere. This thing isn't just hunting individuals. It is actively demolishing the entire environment with every heavy, earth-shaking step it takes. Look at the sheer scale of those impacts. It's like the sky itself is crashing down. The crazy part, the veterans are losing their minds while the beast just keeps coming. The beast unleashes a blood-curdling howl that shakes the very air before its massive jaws clamp shut on a helpless survivor. A massive explosion of dark energy and white light levels the surrounding buildings, leaving nothing but a crater and smoke behind. That is just brutal. There is absolutely no escaping that level of raw, destructive power. With the veteran hunters completely frozen in terror, what move will Lu Feng make next to stop this massacre? A massive, blood-red eye snaps open amidst a swirling void of shadow and jagged energy. This is the moment the shadow beast fully awakens, radiating a killing intent that suffocates everything nearby. In the middle of the deluge, a man collapses to his knees, his spirit completely broken as he wails into the asphalt. Seriously, what hope is there when a nightmare like that finally looks your way? The man's desperate cry of, "Why is this happening?" is drowned out as a giant, clawed limb pulverizes a car into scrap metal. This isn't just a random spawn, it's the Nightmare Fox, a high-tier demon beast currently locked in a terrifying berserk state. It moves with a jagged, unnatural speed, turning the street into a graveyard of twisted metal and shattered glass. It's honestly hard to watch such total, crushing helplessness. Terrified civilians grab a nearby young man, screaming for the Awakener to step up and kill the beast. He looks like he's on the verge of a heart attack, stammering that he's only a level 16 newcomer without even a combat class yet. To him, facing this monster isn't an act of heroism, it's just a fancy way of courting death. You can see the pure, unadulterated fear in his eyes. He knows he's completely outclassed. A sharp, piercing whistle suddenly cuts through the heavy rain and the monster's guttural growls. Lu Feng stands there with his eyes hidden by his dark hair, casually signaling the beast as if he's just calling over a disobedient pet. The Nightmare Fox actually stops mid-rampage, its glowing red eyes swiveling to lock onto the one human who isn't running. This is the ultimate, wait for it, moment. The massive shadow beast looms directly over him, its towering silhouette casting a dark pall over the entire street. Lu Feng doesn't move a muscle, looking up with a cold, stoic gaze that says he's seen far worse than this. The air is crackling with unresolved tension. Is he about to unleash his own hidden power, or is this monster already under his control? The shadow beast's red eyes flare with murderous intent as it lunges through the pouring rain. Lu Feng barely flinches while those massive claws shred the pavement right where he was standing a millisecond ago. Honestly, watching this thing move is a total nightmare, but he's acting like it's all in slow motion. A status window flickers into view, revealing Lu Feng is only level 9. The veteran hunters nearby start mocking him, calling him a rookie who's about to get slaughtered. They're laughing now, but they have no idea they're witnessing a monster in human skin. Why is he so calm despite the massive level gap? Lu Feng weaves through a flurry of strikes that should have turned him into paste. He casually notes that the Nightmare Fox is actually strong, but he's already fought it thousands of times in his past repetitions. Imagine having a boss's entire move set memorized before the fight even starts. That's not just skill, it's an unfair advantage. Deciding to end the game, Lu Feng leaps high into the air and taunts the beast to catch him like a stray dog. The monster lets out a bone-chilling roar, its massive jaws snapping shut on nothing but empty air. He's playing with fire here, and you can practically feel the heat of the beast's rage through the screen. A hunter screams for the rookie to run for his life before the beast finishes him off. Suddenly, a hand grabs Lu Feng mid-air, forcibly dragging him away from the monster's reach. Wait, who just interfered? Just when Lu Feng was about to show his true power, someone thinks he needs saving, and this interruption might have just ruined everything. A massive shadow wolf with glowing red eyes lunges through the screen, baring its jagged, obsidian teeth. The shadow beast lets out a bone-chilling roar that physically ripples the air, marking its territory with pure intimidation. Seriously, the sheer scale of this thing is enough to make anyone's heart stop. It's pure nightmare fuel. Black tendrils of chaotic energy explode outward, swirling around Lu Feng as he stands tall amidst the wreckage. The beast's massive, winged form begins to dissolve into a thick, swirling mist that quickly blankets the entire city street in a heavy darkness. It's like the monster was never there, but the absolute destruction it left behind proves this wasn't just some hallucination. The crazy part is how calm Lu Feng stays through all this chaos. Lu Feng turns his stoic gaze toward the trembling rookie, who is still gasping for air after the near-death encounter. The boy breathes a sigh of relief, thinking they got lucky because the monster recognized him, but Lu Feng drops a massive truth bomb. The beast isn't a separate entity, the beast is the boy himself. Hold on, so he wasn't being hunted by a demon, he's actually the one carrying the demon inside him? My mind is actually blown by that reveal. A jagged flashback shows the young boy cowering in a ruined wasteland, surrounded by a terrifying horde of bloodthirsty demons. Lu Feng points out the impossible. While most newbies are completely helpless, this kid summoned a high-level guardian the very moment he hit level 1. If he could do that as a total amateur, then what kind of world-ending monster is he going to become under Lu Feng's wing? I genuinely can't wait to see the look on the veteran hunters' faces when they realize who the real threat is. A massive, demonic entity with glowing eyes looms over the trembling boy. Lu Feng explains that this shadow beast is a protective manifestation that only splits from the host's body during moments of extreme danger. Seriously, the more this kid suffers, the deadlier that beast becomes. It's a terrifying double-edged sword, but Lu Feng drops an even bigger bombshell. The boy is a transcendent awakened, a 1 in 100,000 miracle. My jaw actually dropped. Imagine finding out you're basically a living cheat code. A haunting vision of a city engulfed in blood-red flames and destruction flashes across the screen. Lu Feng warns the kid that if he doesn't learn to control this raw power, he won't just save people, he'll level the entire city. That is a heavy burden for a literal child to carry. One wrong move, and he becomes the very monster he's afraid of. Lu Feng leans in close, his voice turning surprisingly soft as he mentions the kid's secret hobby. He knows the boy is an avid fan of a hero named Austin and even collects his figures because he wants to be a superhero of justice. The kid is absolutely stunned, asking how he could possibly know that. Lu Feng just smiles and says they're companions who've been through thick and thin together. Wait, how? This is a massive hint that Lu Feng knows way more about the future than he's letting on. Standing under a crescent moon amidst the ruins, Lu Feng officially invites the boy to join his guild. He promises to teach him how to master that world-ending power. The kid doesn't hesitate for a second, putting his hand in Lu Feng's with a look of pure hope. It's a beautiful moment, but you just know the peace won't last. A swirling blue vortex of a shadow world portal hums with energy in a clearing. We see Zhao Haishan and his veteran squad waiting impatiently because they need 2 more people before the D-rank mission can start. The tension is building as the crowd of hunters gathers around the gate. They're looking for competent teammates, but they have no idea that a stoic monster and his new protege are about to change everything. Can this veteran squad even handle what's coming? A digital notification pings right in front of Zhao Haishan's scarred face. Lu Feng and Charlotte finally step out of the crowd, submitting a formal request to join the veterans' raid. The bald leader's jaw practically hits the floor when he sees Lu Feng is only level 9. Man, the disrespect starts immediately. He thinks Lu Feng is just a weakling looking for a carry. Charlotte pops a pink bubblegum bubble and stares the veterans down. She tells them straight up, if her boss isn't allowed in, then she's walking away right now. The surrounding hunters start whispering that they must be a couple, thinking she's just trying to save her boyfriend's reputation. Little do they know, the power dynamic in this duo is nothing like they imagine. Zhao Haishan finally relents, signaling the group to prepare for the jump. They have exactly 5 minutes before the portal stabilizes and they have to dive in. The squad braces themselves as they vanish into the swirling blue light of the shadow world. This is where the real nightmare begins, and honestly, none of these veterans are ready for it. While walking through the eerie gate, Charlotte asks why their other potential teammate didn't show. Lu Feng casually explains the kid had to stay behind for makeup lessons at school. Charlotte's face says it all. Imagine the world falling apart under shadow influence and still having to worry about homework. Talk about a brutal reality check. Charlotte turns to Lu Feng, finally asking the million-dollar question, why did he pick these specific 7 people? Lu Feng drops a bombshell, a catastrophe-rank world is coming, and by guilding up now, he can ensure they all survive the forced transfer. Charlotte is stunned, but she points out the massive flaw in his stoic plan. He's only level 9. So how is a weakling like him supposed to protect anyone in a world meant to kill them all? Lu Feng stands stoic while Charlotte presses him on how a level 9 could possibly carry 7 people through a death zone. He simply tells her she'll find out soon enough, his voice carrying a chilling, absolute confidence. It's a bold claim, but the guy doesn't even blink while the veterans whisper in the back. The group follows Zhao Haishan toward a shimmering portal, the threshold between their reality and a frozen nightmare. One by one, they step through the rippling light, leaving the safety of the forest behind. I don't know about you, but I'd be shaking before even touching that rift. A flash of blue lightning crackles around Lu Feng's silhouette as the weight of the shadow world settles in. We're officially in Chapter 6, Nether Butterflies, and the atmosphere shifts instantly from tension to survival. The team emerges onto a jagged, frozen cliffside that looks like the literal end of the world. Zhao Haishan and the other veterans are immediately hit by a bone-chilling wind, gasping as the frost bites into their skin. This is the D-rank shadow world, the gray-toned snowfield. It's hauntingly beautiful, but in a "you're going to freeze to death in minutes" kind of way. One hunter lets out a massive sneeze, cursing his life and wishing he'd brought 10 more layers of gear. Meanwhile, Lu Feng stands there in his light trench coat, looking like he's taking a stroll in a park, completely unaffected by the sub-zero frost. Seriously, how is he not shivering? The squad begins a grueling trek up the mountain ridge, their tiny silhouettes struggling against the massive, unforgiving landscape. They slowly vanish into a dense forest of frost-covered trees where the blizzard is at its worst. The crazy part, the deeper they go, the more I feel like something is watching them from the whiteout. The squad trudges through the deep snow, leaving a long trail of heavy footprints behind them. Zhao Haishan keeps a sharp eye out, explaining that since this is a D-rank world, the mission is simple: hunt elite monsters for crystals and kill the boss. It sounds like a walk in the park for these veterans, right? But the way the wind is howling, honestly, I don't like this at all. One of the hunters spots a glowing, ethereal blue butterfly fluttering near the frost-covered trees. She reaches out with a smile, gently touching its wings because she thinks it's pretty. Big mistake. The second her finger makes contact, a jagged layer of ice instantly encases her entire arm, shattering her limb like cheap glass as she screams in pure agony. My stomach just dropped. Who knew something that beautiful could be that lethal? Total chaos breaks out as a mage fires a streak of red lightning into the tree line to push back the cold. But instead of scattering, the trees start shaking, and hundreds of those glowing blue wings emerge from the shadows. The sky is literally turning blue with these things. The question is, can fire even stop a swarm this big? A literal sea of butterflies descends on the squad, and the air fills with the sounds of desperate begging. One hunter tries to run, but he's swarmed in seconds, his body turning into a solid block of ice mid-stride. He's just standing there now, a frozen statue of pure terror. It's a massacre. How are they supposed to fight something they can't even touch? Zhao Haishan realizes these are nether butterflies, predators that hunt by tracking body heat. He screams for everyone to retreat immediately before the entire mountain becomes a graveyard. But check out Lu Feng and Charlotte in the back. While everyone else is losing their minds, they're just standing there, completely unmoved. Are they really going to let the whole squad die, or is Lu Feng just waiting for the right moment to show these veterans what a real monster looks like? Zhao Haishan and his veteran squad are sprinting through the snow as fast as their legs can carry them. They look back to see Lu Feng and Charlotte standing still, immediately assuming that newbie and his girl have simply frozen in terror. Zhao actually feels a spark of guilt for leaving a rare ability user to die, but his survival instinct wins out. It's honestly hilarious. These guys think they're escaping a death trap, but they're actually running away from the strongest person in the world. Lu Feng stands stoically in the center of the blizzard as glowing blue butterflies begin to swarm. Charlotte nervously asks if they're staying behind to hunt for treasure while the others clear out. But Lu Feng's response is even more insane. He tells her these deadly monsters are here for her training alone. Charlotte's jaw drops as she asks if he's gone crazy. Imagine being told that a swarm of soul-eating insects is actually just a private tutoring session. Lu Feng stares at the sky, critiquing Charlotte's messy mental power for being way too broad. He tells her she needs to stop the wide-range bursts and start picking off every single butterfly individually. Charlotte snaps back, claiming it's impossible to condense her power that small unless she was some kind of god. She's frustrated and overwhelmed, but she's about to learn that impossible isn't a word in Lu Feng's dictionary. Lu Feng crosses his arms and a blinding explosion of needle-thin blue light erupts from his chest. Instead of a chaotic blast, hundreds of precise lasers fan out, sniping every single butterfly with perfect, terrifying accuracy. Charlotte's mind is completely blown as she realizes he's using a basic beginner-level skill to pull off a god-tier feat as Lu Feng coolly instructs her to compress her power to the size of a grain. You have to wonder, if this is a beginner skill to him, what does his actual power look like? Glowing blue particles swirl around them like a frozen dream. Lu Feng continues his lecture, explaining that compression and angle are everything if she wants to be truly strong. Charlotte is struggling just to keep her power from exploding, calling him absolutely insane for making this look so easy. I mean, look at her face, she's terrified of his simple training. A thin, lethal beam of light lances out from Charlotte's fingertip. It's a good start, but Lu Feng isn't impressed yet. He calmly tells her she needs to kill 2,000 butterflies, one by one, and if she messes up and hits 2 at once, he's adding extra targets to the pile as a penalty. You need to kill 2001 now, he says with a straight face. The guy is literally trolling her with math while she's fighting for her life. Lu Feng leaps into the air with the grace of a phantom. He's actually going to take a nap on a tree branch while she trains in a blizzard. Charlotte is screaming her head off at him to stop joking, but he's already checked out. It's cold, it's dangerous, and her protector is literally catching Z's above her head. Is this even a training session anymore, or just survival of the fittest? Thousands of blue butterflies descend from the canopy like a beautiful, deadly wave. Charlotte stares at the impossible task ahead, wondering if she actually has what it takes to reach Lu Feng's level. The wind howls, the swarm closes in, and then, everything goes black. If she fails here, there's no one coming to save her. But the real question is, what kind of monster is she going to become if she actually succeeds?